It's been a while. Welcome back to the Stenosis SlogCast, episode 8, I think it is now. Let's go. Oh man. Let's see, where's the right volume? Where's the right volume? We'll go with that. Man, it's been a little while since I recorded a SlogCast. Been doing a lot of other things. I had a couple collaborations with MemQ. Great artist and creator there. If you haven't heard of him or checked him out, go to YouTube. Just type in MemQ, M-E-M-Q. That'll take you to his channel. He does a lot of really cool stuff, and I've never really known anybody who has Korn's guitar tone down so perfectly. And you know, I tell MemQ this quite often. I tell him that his setup gives my setup anxiety because I do most everything analog, and with my Mesa dual rectifier, and I mic the 412 cab, and we run it through a mixer and sum it together and run that through another mixer, and then into, long story short, it goes into the computer. And then MemQ, he does his stuff digitally, and his tone is incredible. Pisses me off. Don't tell him I said that. You can, I don't care. He's a comical guy. He'll get the humor. But whenever it comes to the SlogCast, there are times where, actually every single time, I struggle as to what to talk about. And I'm running a new setup right now. I'm running my vocal microphone. I made a video about that today, and the transition between the two microphones, because I used to use my Shure SM7B, which is a very popular podcasting microphone and radio microphone and whatnot. The SM7B it's a popular microphone in general. People use them to record vocals. James Hetfield from Metallica, he uses the SM7B for his vocals. If not the main tracking, then typically always he'll use it, at least for the demoing of the album that they're working on. He'll just sit there and scat through some. And then scat, if you don't know what that is, that's where a singer will listen to a instrumental take, or like a track that the band has done. And then scatting is where you just basically sing gibberish over it to try to figure out a vocal melody. And then after you figure out the melody, then you can then chisel it down to words. So if something's going along, you say gibberish or just sounds, just whatever. And that's how a lot of singers will figure out vocals to a track. Sometimes that's how I do it. Typically I do it in my head though, rather than doing it through the program. I listen to a song over and over and over and over again, and sometimes it takes 30 minutes, sometimes it takes like 3 or 6 months before the vocal melody comes into my head. But the other day I was sitting at a gas station, and I was getting dinner because I'm a healthy American, and I was waiting on the chicken strips and jalapeno poppers, which those are delicious, by the way. And I was just sitting there at the little table. There's really nobody else in there. I think it was snowing outside, or it had just snowed. There was snow on the ground, we'll put it that way. And I was sitting there, and I looked up and I saw the slushy machine. And I just watched the slushy machine. It's probably 30 feet in front of me, just sitting there. And it got me thinking that life is a lot like a slushy machine. That might sound stupid at first, but let me explain there. The slushy machine was just sitting there, and you got the auger, which is the piece inside of a slushy machine that just spins around and 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 around. It doesn't fucking go anywhere. It just spins. That's all it does. And what it's doing is it's pushing the slushy, whatever, the liquid, the stuff that a slushy is made out of. It's pushing it forward. And it's constantly just pushing it against the front of the slushy machine. And it's not going anywhere. It's just over and over and over again. Just keeps pushing the slushy stuff forward into the front of the machine. And I think I was feeling down that day, which those days are a little more common anymore, but it got me thinking that life is like a damn slushy machine, where you just sit there and you spin and you spin and you spin, and you're constantly slamming your face up against this wall, and you're wanting to just get out, to just get a little bit further, a little bit more. So you just keep grinding and grinding and grinding and grinding, and you're not getting anywhere. You're just folding over yourself and folding over yourself. Look at me, I'm folding over my own words. And being a musician is very much like that, where you're trying to get something that is personal, that means something to you out there for other people to hear and to appreciate, and you're wanting to grow, or at least that's what I want to do. I can't speak for you. I don't know who you are, but I want to grow, and sometimes actually very often it just feels like I'm folding over myself, and not really getting anywhere, and which it's also kind of a catch-22 in a way, because if you would have asked me 5 years ago if I would have wanted the stats that I have today, or been able to talk to the people who I've talked to today, and then I would say that would be great. That would seem almost like the beginning of the dream. But now, as I sit here, it more often than not kind of feels like a nightmare. But back to the slushy machine. It's a very important slushy machine. You feel like you're rolling and you're rolling and you're rolling and you're rolling, but you're not getting anywhere. Like, instead of the vehicle moving down the road is moving under the vehicle, and the vehicle's sitting still. So you're never actually traveling. And you're just pushing against this wall. And you're just waiting for that one person to come up and pull the little handle, so that just a little part of you can make it further than that wall that you just keep slamming your face into. And I thought that was really interesting, because it makes you wonder, in life anyway, would you even know it if the person you're wanting to show up even showed up? I don't know. I think about that often. I don't feel successful in what I've done with Stenosis. And honestly, more often than not, I just, the wheels kind of fall off my own mental wagon a little bit, because I've done the entire thing by myself. That it's hard. Like, I'm not great at a lot of things that it takes to be a successful artist or a successful musician. I fall flat in a lot of areas. My expertise, which, I mean, for what that's even worth, and what I'm most comfortable doing, is writing songs, writing music, and trying to learn. But I read in a book, which I don't read that much, so this must be a special book, right? That strongly paraphrasing here, but it was, the way I took it was that information was the enemy to progress. And it sounds kind of stupid. It sounds like it doesn't make sense. You have to know shit in order to move forward. But the more I get into learning something, the more I feel crippled. The more my mind thinks about different aspects, and I also mentioned that in the video I'm going to put on YouTube, where I have, multiple microphones, and I have this mixer that I've wanted for before it even came out. I read about it, and it was something that I knew I wanted in my studio. I had to have that fucking mixer in my studio. I had to have it, and it has state model EQs and state model compressors of like Neve 1073s, and it has like a 1176 compressor and an LA2A, which I have the physical LA2A circuit in my UA, or Universal Audio LA610 Mark II. And then I sit back and after I have all this stuff, I have 4 computer monitors sitting in front of me right now. One of them isn't controlling the computer I'm talking to, but 3 of them are. And I have all this shit routed to this badass digital mixer, and I spend more time asking myself, how am I going to do something, than I do doing things. And I think I know that's been one of my biggest issues. And whenever you have to plan it all in your head of how you're going to route audio, and how you're going to record a song, and how you're going to edit the video, how you're going to shoot the video, and how am I going to implement the mask, and how am I going to stay anonymous, and how am I going to, how am I going to do all this shit, what am I going to talk about? I did a video talking about YouTube's demonetization of channels, which went out yesterday, because I'm recording this on Wednesday the 21st, and my channel got demonetized. That wasn't very fun. I mean, not that I made money, but it's just, I don't know. I'm honestly in that video, which nobody will see because I didn't get it put up in time, nor did I really feel it was worth putting up. I said at the end of it that I was thankful that my channel got demonetized, because it takes away one of those artifacts. It takes away that mentality, or that thought of, if this is going to be successful, how much money am I going to make? And whenever I say I'm a horrible business person for myself, that's one of the things I'm talking about. To be successful in business, you have to be successful in bringing in some sort of revenue or income, or else you can't sustain it. But then if that's all you focus on, then you will completely run aground. Because that's not what's important to the business, even though that sounds stupid in itself. So it's a struggle that I'm going through, and I've been going through. I'm not great at social media. I'm not great at thinking of like YouTube videos and whatnot, and there are so many times where I've wrestled with, well, do I want to do a vlog style thing without the mask, because that would allow me to create more content with less barriers? And each time I think about that, and I think, well, yeah, that's something I want to do, then I think to myself that that's the easy way out, and that's not what I want to do. So I don't know. I'm not even sure where I was going with that point. So maybe by saying all of this, some of you out there can relate to your own struggles that you're going through, whether you're a creative person, or a YouTuber, or a musician, or a videographer, or any sort of passion where you are creating something to move forward. Maybe you can relate, where you get in that analysis paralysis. You think about too much shit, so stops you from walking in the fields you want to walk in. I guess you could say you spend too much, or we all, I spend too much time thinking about the blades of grass and not enough time thinking about the field. And at the same time, whenever it comes to all these aspects, it's that same analogy yet backwards, where I think about the whole picture and have a really hard time just focusing on the little things. Whenever I think about recording a SlogCast, or whenever I think about filming a YouTube video, 800 things pop up into my head at the same time, and I have to work through each and every one of them, it feels like, before I can do a video, because I ask myself, well, what about this? Well, what about this? What about this? And it's hard. And like with social media, I want to branch Stenosis out. How do I word it? What I want for the future of Stenosis is for it to grow and for it to be more along the lines of what I always wanted it to be, and that is a personal connection that people can relate to and people can connect with. I always wanted to be the musician who was on stage playing in the lights and having the dry ice geysers, shooting up, and that's still what I want to do. And that's what I want to do with Stenosis. But Stenosis to me is a lot more than that. I want to turn it into different avenues. I have the Stenosis shirts that are on Amazon right now. Amazon fulfills everything, and I'm actually wearing one right now. And I hope that people find, and I hate this word, value. The reason I hate it is I feel it's overused. Everybody preaches value, value, value. Just like the word entrepreneur. Entrepreneur, anybody who's trying to do their own thing says, I'm an entrepreneur. And, who am I to discredit any of that, But I want to branch Stenosis out into more venues, and I want to be able to reach more people and create something consistently and constantly better. Just always better. I don't like getting stuck in the rut of, well, yeah, this is what I do. I kind of see it with Leo from Frog Leap Studios. His videos are great and his covers are fantastic, and he seems like a very nice guy. I would love to meet him one day. I don't know if I ever will, but I would love to. He seems like he would be a great guy to just sit down and talk to. But I look at his channel, and he's gained a massive amount of success. You can argue that he's one of the most successful musicians on YouTube of all time. But yet he's really pigeonholed himself into the cover world. Whenever you watch it, the analytics or the views, obviously his covers get significantly more views than his vlog style material. And that's something I don't want to fall into. I'm putting out covers now because for the longest time, for about the last 4 months, I haven't felt creative at all. I haven't had the drive to play music even. It's just been for all honesty and transparency, it's just been one giant cesspool of depression and feeling entirely hollow, I guess you could say. But I'm trying to force through all of that, and there's a lot of different avenues for the reasoning for that. But the regression of Stenosis, one, it's only my fault, but two, it leads to more of that depression. It's something that I've put so much time and effort into, and then to see it just kind of plateau and not go anywhere and even regress, and it's a tough pill to swallow a lot of the times, because I know that it's kind of reached a point that I don't want to just be a YouTuber. I want to. I don't know what I want to do. Maybe that's the problem. But hopefully you can relate, knowing that if you're going through depression or struggling with your art or your creative side, and you feel like the room is just dark and full of fog, and you can't really concentrate, you're not alone. That's for sure. They say it passes, which hopefully it does. In the future, honestly, in this SlogCast, and get started here, that if I would like to work with people, somebody who respects that, the work that I've put into Stenosis to create it and to grow it, and respects that I've done the entire thing by myself. It's all been this brainchild that's in my head, and but somebody who's better at social media than I am, because I'm just not good at it. And if you think about it, it's not an uncommon thing. Nobody who's ever been successful has done it entirely by themselves. Henry Ford did not build the first automobile. Henry Ford didn't even build his automobiles. He was a technology guy. He designed the Ford automobiles. Or like Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs didn't sit there with a soldering iron and build the iPhone. He had people who were better at that shit, and he knew that, and that's with any successful person. And if you break it down, into bands, like if you have a person who can sing really well and that person can't play drums, they reach out to somebody who can play drums, so that then they can take this collective project and advance it because they believe in it. And that's what I would like to do, but with more on the digital business, social media kind of side, with like emails and reaching out to different companies and whatnot, not to sell out the brand and just gain any brands, sponsorships or endorsements. Just anything you can get. It's to try to grow, to try to connect with other companies, to try to build something bigger and better, and try to broaden out the brand aspect and awareness. And I don't know. I'm not sure where I was going with that. If you want to work, I guess the word work is bad, but if you want to, kind of join the, Stenosis team, which they say there's no I in team yet. I am here, and currently I am the team. But if you're good at social media, or if you have a passion for wanting to do like social media marketing, and or you have a passion for reaching out and wanting to help grow Stenosis and that kind of stuff, send an email to me. You can send it to stenosis@stenosismusic.net. And just tell me what you do. Tell me what your interests are. And tell me what you would like to do. Because I think it would be great to partner up with somebody, or a couple people, or a few people, and take things further and reignite the inspiration in my brain too. And because after doing it, I've been doing Stenosis now for 4 years by myself, and after doing something for 4 years entirely by yourself and having to learn, recording and videography and YouTube and analytics and Premiere Pro and Photoshop and Lightroom and cameras and ISO and aperture and different microphones, and it becomes this giant mental overload. But it has for me anyway, and I've just reached a point where I would like to partner with other people who can help me out and who want to join me in what I'm doing, and kind of be that social media manager or brand manager, so to speak. So if you have an interest in that, send me an email, and we can talk it over and let me know what your goals are. Let me know what you would like to do in life. Let me know what your experience is, and that's not to say you have to be you've had to have been a brand manager. It's not saying that at all. But I would like to do something like Philip DeFranco did, where he did it alone for a while. Completely different aspects. He's not a musician, and different fields of entertainment, but he slowly built a team around him, and together they have this excellent foundation and platform by which they monitor multiple channels now, and they do a variety of things and make people, the fans and followers of Philip DeFranco in general, happier, create more content and more and there's that word again, valuable content that benefits the viewer and consumer better. That's where I would like to go. I would like to be happier and create something that benefits the consumer or fan or follower, whatever word you want to use, better. So with that, I'm running out of time. I need to start condensing these down. I need to have a better structure for them, but I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you listening to my ramblings on. I'm not sure if I got to the point where I wanted to get. I'm not sure what point I wanted to get in the first place. But that's what it is with the SlogCast. It's raw and it's real. Thanks for being here. Thanks for listening. And again, if you made it this far, type "I did it." That way I know. Trust me, I remember everybody who makes it this far. Thanks for being here. I'll see you next time.